Hi, this is John Sorensen, president of Evangelism Explosion International, and this is Share Life Today. And the purpose for this radio feature and these interviews that we do is to encourage Christians just like you to be witnesses for Jesus Christ every single day. And the neat thing is that there's lots of ways that you can be a witness. Right now, I'd like for you to meet Seth, Heather, and 10-year-old Cassie Joy, and Rudy, who's with us to talk today about evangelism. Hi, how are y'all?
Good.
Well, good. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, Seth and Heather, you decided to do foster adoption, meaning that you went into foster care with the idea that you were going to adopt some children. Tell us why that you wanted to do that and how Cassie and Rudy became members of your family.
God led us to the process of adoption, and there's a lot of different options of adoption in the United States, and including international, and really He just put on our hearts to do domestic adoption. And the greatest need in the United States today is in foster care and adopting out of foster care. There's a lot of children waiting for forever homes, and so He led us to a Christian organization that walked us through the process, and we found Cassie and Rudy. They are actually birth siblings. We went from 0 children to 2 overnight. It was a little bit of a whirlwind, but it's been a great whirlwind. And so they are legally lees, we say, legal lees. We finalized their adoption about 11 months after they moved in.
That is so fantastic. Well, good for you guys. And good for you guys, Cassie and Rudy, too, as well. Now, obviously, Heather and Seth, you wanted to share your faith with Cassie and with Rudy. How did you handle that?
Well, first it was simply introducing them to the fact of going to church because it wasn't a commonplace venture for them beforehand. And after going to church for a time, Cassie actually started to ask those questions. She wanted to know more. And she wanted to know more early and understand it. And my amazing wife got to lead her through understanding what it meant to be saved, what it meant to believe and have faith in Jesus Christ. And so she actually brought that to us. She's always had that go-getter spirit. And Rudy is still in process of learning and understanding what it really means to have that belief and have that faith.
Now, do you remember the very first time that your mom and dad told you about Jesus? And what did you think about that, Cassie?
I thought it was fake. I thought God was fake, and I thought Jesus was a regular man.
You know, I think there's an awful lot of people who think those kinds of thoughts, you know, and sadly, they don't have anybody to explain to them, as your parents did for you, who He is and what He did for you. And do you remember the first time that you really understood that what Jesus did for you?
I think when I was 8.
What did you think, Cassie, when you first thought, wow, this is what Jesus did for me?
I thought it was amazing when He gave us that gift.
Seth, I understand that Cassie has gone out on what we call on-the-job training and that you've seen her in action.
Well, I've gotten to experience a few of them. I'll tell you the first one that I got to experience was we went to something called Church in the Park, which is really close to us, and it's a homeless church that they put on every single Sunday. And there's a kid area, and so my daughter gets to be in there with a bunch of other small children that I have never met before, she has never met before, and she's just sitting there making relationships with kids. And all of a sudden I look up and there's my daughter, and she's sharing with 2 little girls who are sisters the gospel message. It's incredible.
That is fantastic. Now, Cassie, how does it make you feel that you know how to share the gospel? Like with those 2 girls, how did that make you feel that you could do that?
I was scared at first, but then when I was talking to them, I was friends with them, so then I wasn't as scared as I was at first.
You know, Cassie, that there's a lot of Christians that go through their whole life and they never tell anybody else about Jesus. So the fact that you could do that, and you could do that at your age, is really amazing. Now, Heather, I'm going to ask you the same question. How does it make you feel that you can see Cassie telling others about Jesus Christ?
Well, it's pretty great. I mean, I'm so proud of her as a mom, but it's also at times made me feel a little bit more convicted. She has been known in the grocery store to say, "Mom," as we're leaving, "why didn't you share Jesus with that checker, or with that lady or that gentleman?" And so it's been a little bit convicting for me as an adult who, I don't share enough. And so it's been encouraging, but I'm very proud.
Well, fantastic. You know, kids can be very bold when it comes to sharing the gospel, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, if you had the opportunity, and frankly, you do have the opportunity right now for you and Seth to share perhaps with people watching this, why should they be involved in Hope for Kids, and how is this going to help them in their local church? What would you say to them?
I think I would say it's more than just a group for kids. We've seen families come and moms be involved. Moms come and teach and really a deeper understanding of the gospel for themselves. Two teachers that Cassie has just have been very open and personable with me about how they really thought they understood what Jesus' gift for them really was, but until really going through the class and teaching the class themselves, really have solidified their salvation and understanding of what Jesus did for them. And so I think to encourage others that Hope for Kids is not just a night to drop your kids off to be babysat. While it is a perk to have some time with my husband, it's quality teaching where she's learning to share truth. She's building relationships with other kids, not just on a Sunday morning, but during the week. And then building relationships with leaders that are teaching the Hope for Kids curriculum, where she can trust and open up with them is also great.
And Heather and Seth, you don't need me to say this, but I'm proud of you guys. You guys have done such an awesome job in making a family, bringing these kids into this home, teaching them about Jesus, and then giving them this opportunity to be part of this, not only now, but for the rest of their lives. I just think that's so awesome and so great. And we know that we're going to be praying for you and encouraging you. Now, you know, as a ministry, we love to teach people how to share their faith, from little children all the way up to senior citizens. We've been training people in every different age group, but I'm especially glad that today that we were able to talk about Hope for Kids, because when you think about a child like Cassie and Rudy here, that when they're trained to share their faith, the gospel will literally go everywhere they go the rest of their lives. And as we've heard about today, kids don't seem to have the hang-ups about sharing their faith with others that sometimes adults have. So I encourage you, if you're watching this and you're encouraged by this, that you'd get to know more about Hope for Kids. Merely go to our website, click on the Ministries tab, and you can click on Hope for Kids, and you can find out how you can have this in your church as well. And Seth, Heather, Cassie Joy, Rudy, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us all today. It is just absolutely thrilling to see how God has brought you all together, and we're just going to be praying for you as we go forward.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
God bless you too.
You too.